Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We take your sources, could be research papers, notes, even surprising stories, and we turn them into something you can actually use.
And today, we're sort of hacking life using insights from, well, a professional mentalist.
Exactly. And if you really want to get how this guy achieves success, you kind of have to start with his biggest screw-up. Right?
Oh, absolutely. The sources kick off with this just unbelievable story. It perfectly highlights what happens when a personal weakness goes unchecked.
Yeah, this performer, Oz, he was apparently so bad with conflict, called it his Achilles heel. He actually let his mother book him a gig.
Which led to, well, disaster. Picture this. Late at night, packed house in a Kurdish village. He's trying to do mentalism.
But no one speaks his language, either Hebrew nor English.
Not a word. And then the really awful part, sitting on the floor cross-legged for an hour, trying to negotiate payment with the quote-unquote promoter.
Who turned out to be just some guy his mom worked with, a glass plate maker.
Yep. Trying to get even a third of what he was promised. Painful.
It sounds almost funny, but wow, what a perfect place to start this deep dive. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We're taking these techniques, the ones used for stage influence, and flipping them.
Using them on ourselves. We're looking for actionable steps in, 3 main areas?
That's right. Turning weaknesses into strengths, building like a superpower memory, and then mastering charm and influence.
And the key thing to get right away, I think, is that we're not talking about, some deep, unfixable character flaw here.
No, the perspective we're taking is that weakness isn't failure. It's more like a jumping off point for getting better.
Exactly. Real growth means seeing those limits and actually leaning into the stuff that feels uncomfortable.
Okay, so let's talk about that big shift he made. Moving from Oz the magician to Oz the mentalist. That wasn't like a natural next step for him, was it?
No, not at all. The sources are clear. As a teenager, he actively hated mentalism.
Really? What?
Well, he was totally obsessed with the physical skill of sleight of hand, practicing 12 hours a day. Mentalism just seemed boring to him. No flash, no intricate moves, didn't grab him visually.
12 hours. Wow. Okay, so if he hated it, why make that jump? Why move into something he actively disliked?
It was purely practical and strategic. After he got married, he realized he needed a different kind of schedule, something that worked for family life.
Ah, so fewer late-night club gigs.
Exactly. He wanted to target the corporate event market, where mentalism pays really well. It was a straight-up business decision, driven by lifestyle needs.
And that kind of strategic thinking paid off right away, didn't it? When he went on America's Got Talent in 2015, the sources mentioned he had to think carefully about how he presented himself.
Oh, absolutely. Matt Franco, a magician, had won the year before, so to stand out, Oz deliberately chose mentalism, which was riskier, less common.
And he changed his look, too.
Yeah, he went for this very clean-cut, kind of square image. Suit and tie. Totally different from the edgy rock star vibe a lot of other mentalists were going for. It was about differentiation.
That's a pretty big gamble, though, betting his career on something he wasn't initially as strong at and something that, well, has a much higher margin for error, as the source says.
Totally. If a magic trick goes wrong, okay, you drop something maybe. If mentalism fails...
It's a communication breakdown. The whole illusion collapses.
Precisely. It's way riskier.
Yeah.
But that risk, that vulnerability, is actually part of what grabs the audience, It feels more real, more impressive than just a physical trick. He succeeded because he embraced what initially made him uncomfortable.
Let's circle back to that Kurdish gig disaster for a second, because it really shows the cost of avoiding discomfort in your personal life bleeding into your professional one.
Right. And the sources touch on the neuroscience here. Saying no, especially to family and specifically mothers, well, it's apparently really hardwired, some kind of associative learning thing.
We're basically programmed to go along with parents for survival. Something like that. So when you take that weakness conflict avoidance and apply it professionally, you get, well, chaos. Mentalism needs a shared reality, clear communication. He had zero shared language.
The description of the book test trick failing is just agonizing to read.
Oh, yeah. The volunteer, instead of building suspense, just kept shouting out the word he was thinking of.
He completely lost control of the situation.
And the whole environment reflected that. Doors chained shut because it was oversold, people clawing at the windows. It was just a pressure cooker.
And then, after all that, the hour-long negotiation for a fraction of the fee, sitting on rugs with his mom's friend, it's just the perfect storm of what happens when you don't set boundaries.
So the big question becomes, how do you break that pattern? The sources talk about this thing called the discomfort principle.
Meaning you have to deliberately put yourself in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah. The author admits his own need for control was another huge weakness. It stopped him from hiring a team for years because he was afraid to delegate, doing all the grunt work himself, like emails and making props.
Exactly. He was stuck. To level up, he had to let go of that control, accept the discomfort of spending money on staff, which freed him up for bigger things, like getting on TV.
And there's research backing this up, Cornell and UChicago.
Yeah, studies show that if you frame discomfort as just, part of the learning process, it actually leads to more positive feelings and faster growth.
Like the example of starting running. The source says the first couple of weeks are abject misery.
Right,
Yeah.
or training for an ultramarathon. But pushing through that initial awfulness, that willingness to just sit with the struggle, that's what builds momentum.
Okay, so accept discomfort as the entry fee for getting better. That makes sense.
And once you can do that, you can start improving other areas more easily. Which brings us, I think, to maybe the most directly useful skill here, memory.
Yeah, and connecting discomfort to memory.
Yeah.
The sources make this really interesting point, that often having a bad memory isn't actually about poor recall.
It's usually poor listening or poor imprinting. You never really captured the information properly in the first place.
Because our brains are constantly filtering stuff out to save energy.
Exactly. So the info was never really in there to be remembered. What you need is a reliable way to anchor it.
And the author suggests the listen, repeat, reply technique, LRR.
Yeah. Simple, like shampoo instructions. Lather, rinse, repeat. Here it's listen, repeat, reply.
Okay, let's break that down. Step 1, listen.
And this means really listen, like achieve an almost blank mind, total undivided attention. The source gives that great example of Barack Obama during meet and greets.
How he'd lock on to the person he was speaking with, not looking over their shoulder.
Exactly. That complete presence, that's the foundation. If you're already thinking about what you're going to say next while someone's talking.
You already failed step 1.
Right.
Okay, step 2, repeat.
Immediately say the name back. You can even ask about the spelling. Is that Brian with an I or Y?
Why does that immediate repetition work so well?
Well, the science bit says it helps create more stable representations in the cortex. Basically, you're forcing that info from your fleeting short-term memory into longer-term storage.
Like pressing down hard when writing in sand, making the imprint deeper.
That's a great analogy, so distractions don't just wash it away instantly.
Got it. And the final step, step 3, reply.
This is about making it stick psychologically. You need to engage with the name somehow.
How? Like comment on it.
Yeah, maybe comment on the spelling. Oh, that's the classic spelling. Or pay a compliment using the name Brian. Those are great glasses. Or even...
Make up a connection like, my dog walker's cousin is named Brian.
Exactly. Even if it's totally made up, the point is to make the name meaningful to you in that moment. It creates a hook.
Because memory strength is linked to how often you revisit it. That Nobel Prize winner, Eric Kandel.
Precisely. You're creating an instant revisit. You're actively working with the information.
It really is like a muscle.
Yeah.
And you don't need fancy tech to train it, right? The sources mention crossword puzzles.
Yeah, apparently doing crosswords showed similar cognitive benefits to an actual FDA-approved memory drug.
Wow. And meditation helps too.
Linked to thicker cortex that's tied to intelligence, and it helps cut down on that ruminative thinking, getting stuck on negative thoughts. Less mental noise means more space to actually remember stuff.
Okay, so to give people a feel for this kind of brain training, let's quickly do that mnemonic for the alphabet backward. The source uses it as a confidence booster.
Right. It shows your brain can do this stuff. It just needs structure. We break the alphabet into chunks.
First chunk is businessy.
ZYX Corp, like some disruptive tech company. Then a college chant. WVU, West Virginia University. Easy.
Okay. Then the weird one. TS, a $12 million teaspoon.
Got by RQP, Robert Q. Public. Just absurd images to make it stick.
Then the holiday chunk. ONMLKJ, like MLK Junior Day. And a quick emotional one. IH, I heart.
Almost there. Then a character. GFED. Girlfriend Edna. Maybe you're trying to remember her name.
Huh. Okay. And the last bit.
Financial cleanup. CBA. Like a certified public accountant, maybe it's fake. So ZYX, WVU, TS, RQP, ONNLKJ, IH, GFED, CBA.
7 chunks. Master those, and you've got the alphabet backward. It proves memory is about technique, not just raw talent.
Exactly. Which kind of flows into our last big area, disarming with charm and influence.
Right. because remembering names and facing discomfort get you partway there, but you still need to actually influence people and situations.
And the author defines charm pretty clearly. It's influencing others, so they want you to succeed. They root for you. And crucially, it's learned. It's a skill.
Not the same as charisma, then.
No, he makes a good distinction. Charisma is sort of magnetic. You come to me, think movie stars. Charm is active. I come to you. It's about connection and relatability.
And why is charm so important? You mentioned snap judgments.
Yeah, that Todorov study. People decide if they trust you, if you're competent, literally in a fraction of a second, just based on how you look. Charm is like a shortcut past those biases.
It breaks the pattern, like the example of the tough-looking biker.
Exactly. You expect one thing, maybe intimidating, but then he starts talking about getting his kid to eat broccoli, instantly disarming. That shift is powerful.
And surprisingly, the core of real charm is authenticity.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive, maybe. But insincerity, acting fake, it just triggers our internal alarms. We're wired for social trust. If something feels off, we pull back.
Makes sense why authenticity was Merriam-Webster's word of the year in 2023. People crave it.
And this loops right back to memory training, actually, because a huge part of charm is just active listening, genuinely listening.
That Berkeley study where brains synced up.
Right. The listener's brain activity literally mirrored the speaker's. When you truly listen, you're giving the other person this, measurable neurochemical reward. It feels good to be heard.
Okay, but then there's this other concept, defensive listening, which sounds less warm and fuzzy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's more strategic. It's listening specifically to gather intel, basically, to gain an advantage, especially in negotiations. The author totally revamped his booking process using this.
How so? He stopped just answering calls.
Yep. Instead of taking the call blind, he'd say he was busy, ask for the event date, and then immediately text them a link to an information gathering form.
Okay, why the form? What's a genius move there?
Well, the delay and the form force the client to give him key details before they talk properly. So he has time to Google them, understand their company, see who they've hired before.
So he can anticipate objections before the actual call.
Exactly. So when they inevitably ask for a discount, he's ready. He doesn't sound defensive. He sounds prepared. Oh, sure, I gave client X that rate because they booked 3 shows. Happy to do the same for you if we book multiple events today.
He controls the frame of the negotiation, makes himself seem more valuable, clever.
Very. And of course, nonverbal stuff is huge for charm too. Like 65% of communication.
Simple things like mirroring body language. If they touch their chin, you subtly do too.
Yeah, it builds rapport unconsciously. And here's a weirdly specific one from the source. Keep your hands visible.
Visible. Why?
Apparently, we're instinctively wired to trust people more when we can see their hands. Hiding them in pockets actually makes you seem less trustworthy, even less attractive. Open hands signal honesty.
Huh. Okay. But the simplest charm weapon of all.
Has to be the smile, right?
Right.
It's like a biochemical boost. Releases dopamine, endorphins, cuts stress hormones, just makes the whole interaction better.
Okay, so what happens when charm isn't enough and you actually face conflict or negativity?
The strategy is basically kill them with kindness, meet negative energy with gratitude and empathy.
You have to validate their feelings
Yeah.
first.
Repeat back what they're upset about. Show you understand. I hear you're frustrated about X, and I'm so sorry that happened. I can see why you'd feel that way. It just deflates the anger.
It stops the emotional fire from spreading.
Exactly. Forces them into a more rational space. It even works with tantrums, apparently kid or adult. Quiet voice, get down on their physical level, offer choices or distractions. It calms the nervous system.
Okay, so let's tie this all together for everyone listening. We've covered a lot, confronting weaknesses, building that super memory with LRR, learning charm.
It's all about intentionally developing these skills, right? Whether it's for mentalism or just managing your own life, these aren't magic tricks. They're techniques for pushing past your limits and making the most of your time.
Right. And we want to leave you with one final thought, something really provocative about persistence, pulled from the sources. It's about Roger Federer.
Yeah, the tennis legend, arguably the greatest ever, wins 80% of his matches throughout his career. Phenomenal.
80%. You just assume near perfection at that level.
But here's the mind-blowing stat. Over his entire career, Federer only won 54% of all the points he played. 54%.
Wait, so he lost almost half the points. 46%.
46% of the time, he didn't win the point. The lesson there is huge, isn't it? You don't need to be right all the time. You don't even need to win most of the individual battles.
Even the best of the best fails almost constantly by that measure.
Exactly. Winning, like Federer's career wins or the Mentalists succeeding in a high-risk field, it comes from sheer persistence. It's about being willing to step into that uncomfortable, higher zone again and again.
And knowing that just winning slightly more often than you lose that 54% over time is enough to achieve incredible results.
That's the key. It's the tenacity to keep showing up, even when you're losing nearly half the time.
So here's your challenge for this week. Find one thing, one area of discomfort you've been putting off. Maybe it's a difficult conversation, maybe it's starting that project you're dreading. Just try again.
And remember, Federer, remember you don't have to ace every point. Just getting it right a little more than half the time